Thank you for your interest in the Milescraft Crown 45 model number 1405. Installing crown molding in your home as an accent to rooms, fireplaces, cabinetry, and more creates an elegant and finished look. However, undertaking a crown molding project can be a daunting task as it requires two angles being cut simultaneously. Until now, cutting crown molding required the installer to use the upside down and backwards cutting method. In other words, taking the crown molding, turning it upside down, and placing it backwards on the saw table to get it supported at the same angle it'd be installed on the wall. Now, while this method does create the compound angles needed, it also creates a great deal of confusion as left becomes right and up becomes down, and inevitably, a costly miscut will often occur for even the most experienced installer. To simplify cutting crown molding, Milescraft introduces the Crown 45 Cutting Jig. The Crown 45 revolutionizes cutting crown molding because it supports the crown molding during the cut the same way it will be seen and installed on the wall. The wide cutting surface of the Crown 45 supports crown moldings from 2 inches to 5.5 inches in width, and the indented cutting surface accommodates most detailed dental facets. Cutting pre-finished molding is no longer a concern because of the orientation of the crown molding to the cutting blade. As the blade enters the material from the front, any tear-out that would occur won't appear on the finished surface of the molding. So let's get started using the Crown 45. The Crown 45 comes in a collapsed position for easy storage. Simply flip the base over into its operating position. Then next, unlock and remove the small molding inserts holder from the assembly. Then reinstall and lock it to the underside of the cutting surface. These small molding inserts are essential for cutting moldings smaller than a few inches in width, as they prevent the small molding from falling into the recessed area on the cutting surface of the Crown 45. To use these inserts, simply remove them from the inserts holder and pop the posts into the holes located in the recessed area. Now, before we start cutting, we first need to determine the spring angle of the crown molding we're working with. The spring angle is the angle between the crown molding and the wall it will be installed on. There are typically 3 common spring angles: 38, 45, and 52 degrees. And because manufacturers of crown molding rarely indicate the spring angle, we have included the attached angle finders to help determine the correct angle. To use these angle finders, simply hold your crown molding against the wall at the angle it will be installed. Drop each point of the angle finder in between the crown molding and the wall until the angle finder rests flush against both. The spring angle is equal to the angle listed on the point of the angle finder at the seam between the wall and the molding. Once you've determined the molding's spring angle, you can set the Crown 45 to the correct angle. This is done by lifting the cutting surface with one hand and adjusting the angle setter with the other hand until the tabs can be seen through the appropriate holes in the cutting surface. When the angle setter tabs are visible through the correct holes corresponding to your molding spring angle, rest the cutting surface on the angle setter. With the angle setter in place, you're now ready to cut crown molding using the Crown 45. There are 2 types of cuts you'll have to consider: inside and outside corners. And for each type of corner, you'll have to cut a piece for both the left and the right sides. In general, to make these cuts, the blade of your miter saw will be set to half the overall angle of the corner you're installing crown molding on. So let's get started cutting an inside corner first. For cutting the left side of an inside corner, your crown molding will always be supported by the Crown 45 on the left side of the blade, with the blade turned to the left of the miter saw table to make the cut. For cutting the right side of an inside corner, your crown molding will again be supported by the Crown 45, but this time it will be on the right side of the blade and with the blade turned to the right of the miter saw table to complete the miter joint. And as you can see, these 2 cuts allow the finished crown molding pieces to fit perfectly together in an inside corner. And cutting outside corners with the Crown 45 is just as easy. For cutting the left side of an outside corner, Your crown molding will again be supported by the Crown 45 on the left side of the blade, but this time the blade will be turned to the right of the miter saw table. Then, for cutting the right side of an outside corner, your crown molding will be supported by the Crown 45 on the right side of the blade, with the blade now turned to the left side of the miter saw table to make the cut. And as you can see, these two cuts allow the finished crown molding pieces to fit together perfectly around an outside corner. Cutting crown molding with the Crown 45 is easy. There's no more thinking upside down and backwards when making cuts, and you can greatly minimize expensive miscuts. Simply cut your crown molding the same way it will be seen and installed on the wall. Just remember these simple steps, which you'll find illustrated on the Crown 45 packaging too. Left inside corners, Crown 45 to the left, blade to the left. Right inside corners, Crown 45 to the right, blade to the right. Left outside corners, Crown 45 to the left, blade to the right. Right outside corners, Crown 45 to the right, blade to the left. Once you remember these steps, you're on your way to making easy, accurate crown molding cuts every single time. For more information on crown molding installation projects, there's a wide variety of articles in woodworking magazines